The Center for Journalism and Democracy is an institution I founded on Howard's campus, and it really is focused on strengthening historically informed investigative reporting at Howard and across the diaspora of historically Black colleges and universities. So investigative reporting, to me, is the most critical reporting that you can do in a democracy. That's the reporting that uncovers the way power is being used against the vulnerable. It's accountability journalism. It seeks out those things that people in power don't want us to know about, but it also is the most expensive. It takes the longest, it has the highest risk, and because of that, as newsrooms are shrinking, we're also seeing the loss of investigative reporters. Many newsrooms just don't think they can afford to have someone who may be spending a year or 2 years on a single project. But what we're really doing, we have a consortium of 9 historically Black colleges and universities that we're working to build investigative reporting courses. We offer stipends for students to attend reporting and journalism conferences. Every year hold a big democracy summit, and that's kind of our premier event that we have each year where we bring journalists from across the country into our space to really learn. So our very first Democracy Summit was held at a critical juncture when we were determining what would be the balance of power in Congress. And many people were afraid whether we would hold democracy or not. Obviously, this is another critical year for democracy. Probably the biggest highlight from our first Democracy Summit was one that it was our first. We brought around 300 journalists from across the country onto Howard's campus. Many of them had never been on the campus of an HBCU before. We also brought more than 30 students from HBCUs onto our campus to be in the room with experts. The role of the Black Press Archives is, one, it really sets an essential example for our students. We believe that the most pro-democracy press in the United States has always been the Black press because it had the most expansive view of what democracy could look like. Black people in media were not only having to critique the absence of democracy abroad, but we're having to fight for democracy here in the United States. So as we're trying to train journalists that journalists can't be neutral when it comes to democracy, that democracy requires a free press and a free press requires democracy, we really are using the example of the Black press. And of course, Howard holds the largest repository of Black newspapers in the world, not just in the United States, but across the diaspora. So being able to archive those newspapers is essential for us to be able to access them, to learn from them, and also as we're thinking about historically informed journalism, well, what does that mean? It means to be able to study history and understand history so that you can use that to contextualize your reporting. Well, oftentimes our students have access to how the white media was framing certain things in history, but not so much access to how Black media was framing it. And if you don't have access to both of those stories, you can't get the full picture. And of course we know that HBCUs have always been, from their foundings, the most democratic of institutions in the United States. They've always been open to students of every race. They've always had a charge of expanding rights, of really trying to help this country to fulfill its ideals. So I can't think of a more important place with the history and the mission of democracy than historically Black colleges.